With Royal Highlands less than 2 weeks away, now seems like a good time to be hoarding up some gold. So let's talk about how to make some gold. Welcome to the Cozy Vale. Join our cozy crew by subscribing to the channel today. Now, let's make some gold. There are plenty of ways to make gold in Palia, but knowing a few tricks will help you make gold more efficiently. Ranching will be a key part. However, if you don't have ranching or like to do ranching, I will talk about some different ways that you can approach this later on in the video. So if you want, you can skip ahead. But first, let's talk about the best way of making gold in Palia. Gardening tends to be the most consistent way of making gold, and the best thing is it's mostly passive. I will go into greater detail when I actually do the gardening skill video. But for now, this is the fastest and easiest, so even low levels can do it. If you don't mind watering or weeding the garden, and you like to keep an eye on it, the best way to level and make gold is just plant all bok choy, and then turn them into seeds and sell them. That's pretty common knowledge actually. However, if you're going for a more AFK farm, we have some different options. The one that I use is mostly you plant a bok choy and then you plant a carrot, or you could substitute onion instead of a carrot, and then you'll just keep alternating one whole row. So it goes bok choy, carrot, or onion, bok choy, carrot, or onion, etc., etc. So what we're going to be doing is taking the bok choy, and if you grow onions, take and turn those into seeds and then sell them. Carrots can either be canned or seeded. I personally prefer canned because it's easier and because I like to use it for ranching. However, you can turn them into seeds, but it's about the same price either way. Then, the next row, we're going to alternate between cabbage and taters. Taters are going to be sold for seeds, and the cabbage are going to be for canning. So let's say you don't mind weeding and you like the extra gold that comes from it. Well, we can still keep the watering and actually gain a boost. Let's swap out our carrots or onions, depending on which one you chose, with cotton instead. You can use it for fabric and either sell or keep. My personal recommendation would be to keep the fabric because the new upcoming expansion is probably going to need a lot of silk and fabric, so might as well hoard it now. Most people will tell you that apples and blueberries are the best way to make gold. While yes, they do make a lot of gold, they take a long time to grow. Plus, new players have a hard time getting a hold of apple seeds and blueberry seeds. Next up is ranching. I don't mind ranching, but I know a lot of people do. So that's the reason I put a timestamp for everybody. But generally, I raise bow bars for fish, of course, because that's straight up cash. Trufflets for their mushrooms. Slimes for their flowers. However, it's totally up to you what you raise and how you want to use it. For all the fish, what I will usually do is just sell them straight out. However, if you want to take the extra few minutes and maximize your profit, you can actually turn all the fish into fish fillet with your grill or your campfire, however you have it. Now, to be honest, I've only noticed that this increases maybe 400 or 500 gold, as you can see in the video. So it's up to you if that's something that you want to waste your time doing or not. Me personally, I'm not going to notice 400 gold. Next, I will take all the mushrooms that we received besides the bright shrooms, and I will stick them into our looms for muskin, because muskin, leather, fabric, and silk all have set amounts and have no star versions. So you know you're going to get 750 for the muskins. So as long as you take all the low price mushrooms, you can make a profit out of it. And if you take 30 mushrooms, which we'll say morels, for example, I think are either 9 or 11 gold, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that will basically double your money for every stack. Now I will take the elderwood flowers, sundrop lilies, and put into our glowworm farms. Here, you could actually use your bright shrooms if you want to, or you can sell them straight out, as they do sell for 60 gold each, and take all the starred versions of the bright shrooms and just straight out sell. These milk and mushrooms are the best way to go when worm farming because they're super cheap. I think they sell for like 9-10 gold, and you can actually make 25 gold on each worm that is made with each one, plus an extra 5-10 gold on fertilizer. So essentially you're making about 30 gold per mushroom, and that's profit. However, what I personally do is I will use milk first because I think it's the cheapest maybe, and then egg second, and then honey I will use as well because it can prompt a different type of fertilizer which can give you double the amount of fertilizers that you use. And then we'll take all the fertilizer and sell them. Glowworms are totally up to you if you want to keep them or sell them. I have so many that I just straight out sell them. I know not everyone loves the idea of fishing, and that's totally fine, but I will give you a few spots that you can fish at to maximize your gold. First is the Bahari Bay coast. As a lot of pools spawn up and down the coast, most of the fish bring in decent prices. And not only that, but you can get quest items, and you can also get makeshift boxes, which is always a plus. Next up, I would say the docks at Elderwood. The price on Elderwood fish is great, however, they are not the easiest to catch. So it's up to you if you would prefer to fight sharks or just go somewhere easier. You can also fish at the fairgrounds to catch ancient fish or enchanted pufferfish out of the pools there, which both are pretty decent. Then we have the cave at Bahari Bay. A lot of people love this area because of the fact that there's only like 2 or 3 pools that spawn, and they spawn pretty often actually. However, I think the best spot would be at Zeki's Underground. Pools there respawn quite quickly. There may be only like 2 pools, but the best part is that you always have the fishing buff because there's always people there. So I just spent 30 minutes fishing there, and I netted 15k total in fish. However, I did get quite lucky and catch 2 of the Void Rays starred versions. Maybe bug catching is something that you want to do instead. There are 3 good spots I know of. Bahari Bay outside the fortress. In Elderwood, you can catch Will of the Wisp, but just take note that you will need lures and smoke bombs, of course, and just catch everything. But remember that bug catching relies heavily on catching epic bugs in order to make good gold. However, you do have the added bonus of catching plushies. Getting plushies. A lot of people will tell you that hunting is probably one of the best ways to make gold in the game, and I tend to disagree with this. If you're solo, I don't think that you can make as much, unfortunately. I didn't get to test it as most of the spots that I hunt at are taken right now due to the open season event, so I didn't pull with it much. I would say foraging is probably the most underrated way of making gold. For one, you can go to Elderwood and farm up elder clams that grow near the docks. The trufflets also drop these as well though. You can also go to Bahari Bay and farm unopened shells. Just make sure that you grab shells as well, and the coral, and any peat that you find. You want to open all the clams for a chance to get pearls. And as you can see, this is 15 minutes worth of farming here. And fortunately, I got really lucky on this pools. What I usually do, because you can see that I have more than enough pearls, is I will just sell them straight out and use the meat for worm farms. Also, when you're foraging, you can forage up sun lilies and morels and elderwood, orchids, whatever you want, and just throw them in the worm farm as well. Now, if you want to completely be lazy and not worry about branching or anything like that, well, this is for you. All you have to do is go to Zeki's store and buy a bunch of mushrooms, come back, throw them in your worm farm. Of course, you'll have to spend money, but you still make a pretty good profit off of this. Now, some extra tips. Always make sure that you sell your extra shells, flint, fiber, and weeds, as they are not really needed that much. Just make sure that you keep a stack in your storage and sell pretty much the rest of them. If you do the flower bloom event, you can actually take all the flowers that you get and throw into the worm farm. You can take all the decorated flowers and just sell them straight out for a good profit. And from what I understand, cooking parties make some good money. I've never actually tested that, so I don't know for certain, so I can't say. Also, joining hunting parties is probably a great way of making gold, because you can hunt the legendaries in a party a lot easier than you can solo. Bug catching is probably about the same as well. And that's it for this video. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, leave it a like. and share it with everyone that you know, as I greatly appreciate it and it truly does help the channel out. Until next time, stay safe, stay cozy, but most importantly, have fun gaming.